games, brains, and headbanging life with a special festive 10 things. 10 things we love and hate in a later video about the trio of Black Christmas movies. Now, what I mean by that is the 1974 original, the 2006 remake, and the latest 2019 reimagining. I'm going to call it a reimagining because a remake is stretching it very fucking thin.
Yeah.
So 3 versions of Black Christmas exist. My advice is watch the original, leave it there.
Yep.
Don't bother with anything else. However, 3 films, 10 things we both love about those movies.
Yeah.
Let's see what we've got.
Yeah.
Let's get started then.
Okay. So 1974.
Yep.
So the easily defined characters.
Yep.
They're so different. So straight off, you're watching it. This is who I've got here.
Okay.
And it made me get into the film and made me... The character development was really good with them because they are so different. You're like, okay. And it's a group of girls living together. Yeah.
Right. Easy enough.
Yeah.
Similar but not quite. I'm going to talk about the cast from the 1974 original. It's really, really strong. Olivia Hussey as Jess, who's excellent in this. Kia Dulia as Peter, who does brilliantly as well. Margot Kidder as Barb, who adds her own shine to it in a certain way. John Saxon as Lieutenant Fuller, who's great in this. Marion Waldman as Mrs. Mack. And Andrea Martin as Phil. They're the ones I chose from the cast list that I was like, I could picture you on my head, each and every single one of you. Part of that is thanks to well-defined characters, as you've already said, but the strong cast, the willingness to have fun with this, but also, no, this is still supposed to be a horror movie, and that's important. I think the cast is incredible. I think the acting is classy all the way throughout, particularly from our main bunch, from our final girl to our victims, to our police officers, in the case of Saxon. And there are others as well who do quite well in those roles too, but I didn't want to list the entire cast. But yeah, the cast, the original 1974. Beautiful work.
Nice. Right. So number 2, the believable story of when the girls head home and no one sees them after it.
All right.
So
that applies to all of them, really.
Yeah, but I think more of this one because obviously there is this mobile.
This one, which one do you mean?
1974. I just said 1974. So obviously the whole technology thing, you wouldn't have mobiles, so you would just call people on a landline, or when they get there, kind of thing. So I thought that worked really well. That it was a believable story. Yeah.
I mean, I think I don't know. I'm not too sure why you dispute with me with the fact that it works across all 3 movies. That's a good thing. It's a positive thing that does work across all 3 movies.
I suppose I should give all 3 of them the credit.
Yeah, they all deserve the credit to a degree. It's very believable. And in later ones, the 2006 and the 2019 one, they utilise the technology to hurry things up almost.
Yeah.
Meaning where it's like, well, you can't just... Someone isn't found or someone hasn't arrived, the telephone call is almost immediately. Yeah. Whereas the original obviously was hamstrung by the idea of technology wasn't there.
Yeah.
So I think it works across all 3. It probably is its best in 1974.
Yeah.
Because obviously those technology means as a viewer, you can sit back and go, oh, I believe that because... technology didn't exist. It wasn't like you were on the internet sending IMs or DMs and stuff like that, you know? Yeah. Sticking with the original, how cold the original film feels. It feels so wintry. Really, really awesome scenes. People look like they're freezing their nuts off. It looks cold outside. Some kind of atmosphere. It is amazing. I loved that. That's one of the things that when we watched it, I talked about. I said, "Man, oh man, this doesn't feel fake at all." Because the 2006 version, I think, got that wrong. Yeah. I think it looks incredibly fake and not cold, definitely. As we would see. Yeah, one of the things that really bothered me is you could hear the sound of what was apparently a howling snowstorm. They would go outside and like the hair was barely moving. It's like,
that'd be all over the place.
All right, guys. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Yeah.
So kind of linking into that is from the original film is it feels so much darker than other slasher films. So the fact that you see the aftermath effect on the families and the search parties and things like that.
Yep.
Not many slasher films do that. So you kind of gloss over it because you're just seeing like the maniacal side of it. You don't see the side of where the families are dealing with it all and there's search parties and yeah.
Yep.
I really appreciate that, and it was like, oh, and the fact that the dad was there and you already know that his daughter was dead, you're like, oh, this is really sad.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's brave for him to do that.
Yeah, and I'm going to roll it into one of mine then, sticking with 1974. They're not all about the 1974 film, I promise. About how ahead of its time it was. You kind of forget, like when you think of early slashes, you obviously go to Halloween 1978 and stuff like that. This was 1974. This was ahead of its time, man.
Yeah.
This was doing stuff that in horror wasn't really being done properly. It's often credited as being the first slasher movie. Yeah, it was forgotten about for a very, very long time. You know, it's gained some of a more appreciation these days, but it was given obviously a lot of negative reviews in the 1974, as were most horror movies at the time. But yeah, very, very much ahead of its time because it's very brutal at times, murder and stuff like that, but also choice of language. Choice of language and stuff like that. But, you know, 1974, here we had the good time Christmas period, and here was someone going, yeah, I'm going to make that horrible.
Yeah.
That's ahead of its time, man. Amazing stuff.
Definitely. Because everything else kind of follows after that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So my next one is the goriness of the second film.
Oh, of course. Yeah. So, I mean, I have this one as well.
So we really appreciated that. We watched it going, oh, yeah, that's gory. Like the eyeballs and, lots of eyeballs being done. Icicles and,
Yeah, I mean, I have it as well. If there's one thing you'll remember about the 2006 remake, it simply is that, wow, they really went, let's just up the fucking gore. Every murder, every kill, every death is brutal at times. Splashes of blood, eyeballs being ripped out. It is never a nice experience.
Yeah, and when they kind of reveal the tree scene where there's like heads on trees as decorations and stuff. Yeah, I liked it.
And even like the off-screen kill, like there's one character that's killed. I don't know her name. It's played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead. Is killed in the car. You don't actually see how she dies, but even then you get this. It's like a blood pack goes off in there, which is probably what it was. Just and it's shit like that. That's awesome, you know. Good, yeah, I had it as well. Of course we doubled up on that one.
So you go for your next one.
No, we doubled up. You go again.
Another sort of link back to the first one with the technology. So the calls were coming from inside the house reveal.
Yeah.
Modern technology spoils that element and how long it took to trace the call and location.
Yep.
I really enjoyed the scene where they're trying to trace it and you see just how difficult it was. And when they finally get it, it's like, oh, the calls are coming inside the house. Like, I wish I could have been there to watch that film and seen that about knowing that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is really cool, really creepy. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tie it into this. It's the same sort of thing, a little bit different, which is the twist of 1974. The twist, obviously, that the calls are coming from inside the house. Is built up incredibly well. You already said, you've talked about the several times they try to trace and fail and so on and where you lead. It's very, very effective. It's one of those where it's like, I would like that memory removed from me so I could experience it again. Without my modern horror brain where I feel I can work everything out beforehand.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? Like that sort of thing. But yeah, 1974 twist. It's an effective one. It's a very effective one. Yeah, enough that it urban legend. Calls coming inside a house for the babysitter. So yeah. So we kind of double up again.
Yeah,
we go again.
So I thought John Saxon.
Oh yeah,
I
of
think
course.
was a standout character, just because.
Saxon is a ledge.
Yeah, I just like the whole having a caring role outside the house. Because obviously you knew they cared about each other inside the house, but having that extra caring role, and I like the way he did things, and like he took it seriously. Some people dismissed the calls and thought they just maybe silly girls being hysterical.
Yeah.
Whereas he was like, no, this is something serious, and went about make sure it was all being done, investigate the house. Yeah, I like the fact that they actually gave him it was a properly caring police officer rather than dismissive.
I'd also go further to add to that and say one of the other pleasurable things about it is that it's a role that's written. He's good at his job. Everything he does is correct. The protocols he follows, the leads, the plans, everything is correct.
Yeah.
He could never anticipate the killer being inside the house. How could he have? But everything he does along the way, you get the impression, this guy he's a good detective. He's good at what his job is. So many times those roles are often designed to be idiots because they have to be idiots because you're like, well, you should have looked into this and you should have looked into that and stuff like that. But he does all this. Yeah. That's why he's in my cast. It's so strong. Combining two. 1974 and 2006, both of them, just those two, nailed the Christmassy side of things.
Yeah.
Made it feel incredibly Christmassy, from the lighting to the stars of shots to the warmth inside. Absolutely glorious. I'd say 2006 maybe did it even better because they went garish, which added a certain different look to the whole thing. Was the original subtle but really well done, whether it's an open fireplace and it's stuff like that, present given. Both those films, 2006, 1974, nail the Christmas aspect of their movies. Yeah. Not the 2019 one, though.
We doubled up on that.
Of course.
Take 1974 and 2006 feel like Christmas films. The lights, the get ready to go home, the preparations, like the drinking and Secret Santa. It all felt a lot more Christmassy than the last one.
I agree. So absolutely. Like when I think of Christmas horror movies, both Black Christmas and Black Christmas 2006, or Black Xmas, will be remembered for that absolute reason. And sticking with 2006, while it It's on the hate list as well. I am going to give it some praise for how daringly fucked up that version is. Now, we touched upon the hefty gore, but there are many other elements that you're like, are completely unnecessary, but you are like, oh, you were going for it, man. You were like, yeah, we've got to outdo 74, which was already a pretty violent and nasty movie. How do we do it? Right, let's have abusive parents. Let's have incest. Let's do let's have murder and affair. Like they were game. They wanted, as you pointed out, the Christmas tree. The eyeballs and the head of the Christmas tree. Then choosing the female villain of the character and choosing that to be a man in makeup and hair and stuff like that to make her seem even more fucked up. They were game, and I'll give them credit for that, at least. Like it was daring.
Yeah, so I've got one links onto that. So the silliness of the 2006 film, it felt a bit campier.
Yeah, it is campier.
But it had more personality in 2019. Like, I would watch that one. If someone said, oh, can we watch that? I'd be like, yeah, we're more up for watching that one. And they suggested the 2019, I'd be like,
never again. I'm not watching that crap again.
Yep. But yeah, it just felt sillier, like the boy having jaundice from birth. And the fact like a Simpsons character at times, and it was. They
just kept laying it on.
Yeah,
they'd be like, right, he's got
not?
Jaundice.
Yeah.
Oh, but he's also got an abusive mother that hates his existence. So there's that. Oh, she locks him in the attic. Oh, she had an affair and killed her husband. They keep adding layer and layer, and then it's like, oh, now she fucks her own kid.
Yeah.
Who's underage as well. Like it's rape as well. Like
it's nuts.
It's just like each time it was like they were sitting there going, I'm going to use a very timely reference. This will probably be out of date. It's Jericho and MJF ordering drinks and going over and over. It's like two writers were sitting there going, well, this is more fucked up. And then he got to the incest, and the guy was like, you know what? Well, better stop there. Yeah. I am going to now praise, and I'm going to talk about the 2019 version. And simple as this, and it is the lightest possible praise I can give, which is the basic idea of the 2019 remake. I cannot fault that basic idea, the rooting of it in cancel culture, woke culture, if you want, better word, woke culture, and the changing of positions and how we need to reflect upon history. All of that is worthy of praise. The basic underlying idea, go watch our other videos related to this movie in regards to how we feel about how that idea was executed. Yeah. But when that was initially written down or thought of, that's a clever idea. Yeah, that's praise, yeah.
Okay. So, in the 1974 one, so kind of going on from the 2019 and kind of taking it back to 1974, the characters were strong in their own ways.
Yep.
Which I appreciate. It wasn't just rammed down your throat that we had to be strong and band together. It was like, just more subtle.
Yep.
So, the Jess not having a baby.
Yep.
Bringing up abortion in the 70s, that's probably still
74,
quite taboo.
very, very,
Still
strong.
taboo now for some people. So
for
back
some
in
places,
74, yeah. So, not going home to family that aren't loving.
Yep.
So Barb doesn't go home to just because it's family. She's like, no, I'm going to stay here. The house mother, Mrs. Mack.
Yep.
She's obviously got an alcohol addiction, so she's hiding that from the girls that she's supposed to be in charge of.
Yep.
So they're all struggling with things, but they're all strong in their own ways, which I appreciate more than it being rammed down your throat. Oh, look how strong these women are. So,
what film could you be referencing when you say that?
Yeah, so yeah, I just liked the fact that it was like, okay, I'm going behind these women. I'm not pitying them.
No, that's a fair point. Okay, yeah. I'm cool with that. I'm going to stick with the 2019 one.
Yeah.
Amazingly, I've got a second positive thing to say. And this is more because when we sat down and said, right, let's do 2019.
Yeah. We
got to do this 10 things, so let's do 2019 now. I said to you, and I said, all I want is for it to be something massively different.
Yeah.
Like we've had a remake that is a clear remake. Let's have some new, fresh idea here.
Yeah.
And they did it. That's 100% true. It is. It's Black Christmas and name alone. Barring a few references here and there. It is very, very different. And that's what I asked for. Yeah. I shot myself on the foot here. I said, give me something completely fucking different. And I got something completely different. So give them credit to that. They didn't just go, let's just do the same film again.
Yeah.
They didn't.
Okay.
I wanted to put something in here about 2019.
No, I totally get that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And my last one, I said 1974, The Brutal Deaths.
Yeah.
The bag one is so simple, but just horrible.
The way it's filmed up close,
Yeah.
they do clever up close, keep the camera up close during a lot of deaths.
Yeah, the brutality of it as well, especially when you consider the age of the film as well. Yeah, I really appreciate they went all out on that. And that bag, just when they throw back to that girl Claire with the bag over her head, I didn't like that at all. It's really kind of quite, ooh.
And last but not least, this is for all three of them. And now, if you, like us, decide you're going to do all three of them, be assured of this. They all offer something different. They all do.
Yeah.
You have a classic slasher horror with a twist in the 1974 film. In the 2006 version, you've got the same story, updated visuals, a level of silliness and over-the-top gore that stands that one out on its own.
Yeah.
And with the 2019 version, you get something so wildly different. Chances are it'll probably go down in history as one of the most Marmite movies ever. You'll either love it or you'll hate it.
Yeah.
You know, they're three. They stand out individually on their own.
Yeah.
I do think so, and that's no bad thing.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah?
Definitely. Yeah.
Of course, 10 things we hate. I wonder which film's going to get the punishment there. Make sure you check out that video and let us know your thoughts, what you love about the Black Christmas Trio in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Tumblr. Go to Patreon and help us out over there. That's patreon.com/GBHBL, as well as Big Cartel, where you can find some of our merchandise. We have a podcast running on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. And of course, if you like this video, do us a favour, hit the subscribe button and help the channel grow. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?